Hi, today we're going to go through rollbacks or half rollbacks and how to do it correctly. So when I'm beginning to teach these to my clients who haven't done them before, we use a dyna band to give them a little bit of support. It's really useful to help people get the correct position. So I'm going to do this sideways up. So you're going to be sitting up. I just want you to rest on your heels, placing your dyna band around your feet, arms nice and long, sitting right on top of your sit bones. And when you sit on top of your sit bones, your spine just lengthens naturally. Okay, and what we're going to do is, if you notice that my shoulders are directly over my hips, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you just to connect your abdominals, and you're going to roll off your sit bones, leaving your shoulders where they are, and then just lengthen up. So it's a really small movement for most people, and it's just about getting the pelvis to actually do some moving. When you have lower back issues and tighten the lower back, then actually doing this movement is really quite difficult, and most people tend to do this, hinging from the hips. Okay, so really pull your abs in, roll off your sit bones, lengthen up. So I want you just to do that a few times. See if you can get that movement going. Okay, and then when you've done that, we're going to take it a little bit further. So what you've got to be careful of is if you roll back off those sit bones and then end up doing the hinging back. So you've got to follow it through. So you're rolling off your sit bones, continue moving your pelvis so that your pubic bone ends up towards the ceiling. Okay, so starting, pushing those hips back, rolling off your sit bones, continue moving the pelvis, pubic bone up towards that ceiling. So I tell people that you're really looking to be able to balance something. You know, a glass of water, gin tonic, anything on your pubic bone. And that movement is actually really hard for people to get. Most people just hinge up and down, you're overusing their hip flexors, instead of getting the movement to start from the pelvis. So the first bit is getting your initial pelvic movement, and then it's following it through. The spine will just follow naturally, just let the spine follow naturally, pubic bone to ceiling. So you're working through your spine. Okay, now they're coming up. Usually, people then manage to get that. Little bit of pelvic movement, then we're following through, and then we're forgetting that this is actually an abdominal exercise, and we're just hinging up. Okay, so what we're going to do is think about what's moving. So as we start off, we move the pelvis, roll off the sit bones, continue to move the pelvis, the spine follows. So you're initiating the movement from the pelvis. Now as you come back up, try and keep your pelvis still. So pull your abs in, really working in my abs, moving the spine first, keeping the pelvis nice and still, work nice and hard in my abdominals. Going to get to a point now where I have to let the pelvis move and then lengthen up nice and tall. So you're getting that rolling, that rounding, that C shape that we all talk about. So again, pushing those hips back, pubic bone to ceiling, holding it here, then pulling your abs in, using your abdominals. I'm not using the dyna band, I'm not using my biceps, I'm using my abdominals, rolling through my spine, getting to a point and lengthening up. Okay, so of course I'm doing that really slowly so you can all see the movement and how the movement works. And that's really your first stage. You need to learn to move your pelvis to be able to roll back. And I don't want you to go all the way back to start with. I want you to practice that until you feel really comfortable getting that movement. And then after that, we can move on to the next level, which is taking it right down. So start with there, roll back, pubic bone to the ceiling, pushing my lower back into the mat. Now don't put the head down because it just makes it a bit easier to keep it up. And then breathing in here, out breath, pull from your abdomen. abdominals. Pull, 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 pull from your abdominals, roll through your spine, start to move your pelvis, lengthen up, end up where you started, right on top of your sit bones. Okay, so roll off your sit bones, pubic bone to the ceiling, pushing your lower back into the mat. Let's not place the head down to start with, just keeping it at a low level. And then out breath, you can take as many breaths as you want actually. And I'm pulling really hard in my abdominals, really working hard in my abdominals. Lengthen up, back onto your sit bones, and rest. Okay, thank you.